Hey guys, what's up y'all? Welcome back to my channel. This is the part 2 reaction of the Bobby Brown story. I did a part 1 reaction last night, so if you have not seen that, it's on top here somewhere. So we knew what part 2 was going to really be about. It was more of the decline of Bobby Brown, and to me it was more about his relationship with Alicia, his current wife. I don't know if Alicia wrote this. I don't know, but to me, it was more portrayed that Whitney was evil and Alicia was the saint. Maybe it's just me, maybe that's how I saw it. And I'm like, okay, we don't care. I don't care. I don't really care about Alicia. I mean, I don't have a problem with him being married, moving on. That's fine. You were divorced. But at the same time, we don't really care. So, okay, it picked up where Bobby was in the kitchen cooking crack. I thought people just bought crack. I did not know. You have to be skilled to know how to cook your own crack. Bobby was in this lavish mansion cooking his own crack. He had a sudden stroke. He actually had a stroke. And Whitney came out. The young lady that played Whitney, she played Janae. That was her name. Janae in the game. Gabrielle Dennis, I think her name is. She played the hell out of Whitney, okay? She gave Whitney's mannerisms, the hair, the sweat. This girl researched and researched this role because she gave Whitney to a T, okay? Whitney came out just back, what was it, moonwalking out looking for the crack. And she saw Bobby on the floor and Whitney didn't care, she just wanted the crack. What? I know this is Bobby's story and this is Bobby's truth and everything like that. And I don't know what happened, I wouldn't know. I don't know. But with this movie, I got a sense of Whitney had more of a problem than he did. And I don't know how accurate that is, because even with being Bobby Brown, Bobby was high looking. Like, he looked high too. But in this movie, by the time they got to being Bobby Brown, he was sober. He was still drinking, but he stopped getting high, which didn't really make sense to me. But he got a stroke and everything like that. And him and Whitney just were at odds because, you know, he was in and out of jail. He had stopped smoking. Whitney didn't want to stop smoking. They showed the Diane Sawyer. Well, they didn't show the interview, but they showed him coming to the house with all these camera crews there. And he basically told her, she sounded crazy saying crack is whack, which is, that will go down in infamy as one of the best lines ever. And show me the receipts. First time I ever heard that. But yeah, so they did that. She was high off her mind. The one person that I felt really sorry for throughout this whole thing was Bobby Christina. And then they had Raina from Power to play Bobby Christina. So I have to watch Raina die twice. And I don't think whoever that girl's manager is, I understand this was a big role, but you have to kind of stop booking her for roles where she's dying, because she is going to get typecast as the girl that just dies and everything. I watched Raina die twice. But I feel bad, and you put it in perspective. When this was all happening in real life, we felt, I know I did, I felt so bad for Bobby Christina. Even when you look at being Bobby Brown, Bobby Christina looks so helpless. She looked so embarrassed because both her parents were strung out, acting like everything was normal, and Bobby Chris she was just a prisoner with two crackheads, basically. They were doing heroin, crack, weed. There was a point, and I'm not even going in sequence because this really isn't a review, this is a recap. There was a point in the beginning of in the beginning, they were on a tour bus, and Bobby was snorting, sniffing, cutting up, depositing in, like he mixed crack and weed. And when he mixed crack and weed, he started hallucinating, and he started to think that Whitney was trying to kill him, because Whitney was sitting right across from him, filing her nails, and he thought that she was gonna take the file and kill him. And Bobby took his gun, ran off the bus, ran to some white man's house. I think they were in Georgia, so this man could have killed him. And Ricky, I know Ricky was on the bus. Ricky looked strung the fuck out. So I guess him and Bobby were getting high together. But Bobby was hallucinating, all of this stuff. And I'm like, it just made it seem like Whitney was just more gone than him. And it could be so, because Whitney was doing drugs for a very long time. She started at 16. So she could have been more gone than him. But it seemed, he made it seem like he, and it could have been the case. He was trying to do better, and here he was with a wife that did not want to do better. I don't really know. But from when I saw Bobby, after this whole I stopped doing drugs, I don't know if it was he was just drunk, but he looked high. The high, I think, kind of didn't stop where he said it did in the movie. I don't really know. Maybe it was a small stint where it stopped, but Bobby was high for a lot of the rest of the years. It was one time Bobby was leaving to go somewhere, and his brother was outside to pick him up, and Whitney was rushing him out the house. She looked high as hell. She was rushing him out the house, and he was drinking. And he left out the house and came back in, and Whitney was bringing a dude in the house. Now, let us pause, because there's been some discrepancies about who this dude is. Dude, to me, looked like Ray J. Now, I don't know if this was Ray J. I don't know if she started fucking with Ray J when she was still with Bobby. I don't really know. Dude looked like Ray J. He looked like a simp. So he looked like Ray J. Bobby beat his ass. Whitney was trying to get him off of Ray J, because I don't know who that is. And he ended up hitting Whitney. He ended up going to jail because of that. And I remember this court case. I remember this because Whitney didn't press charges, but the law did. So he did go to jail for that. But it was just a lot. It was just a lot. Came back home. Whitney left him to Bobby Christina. She moved out. He ain't had nowhere to go. Bobby put all his money in Whitney's company. So Bobby had no money. Whitney had all the money. Bobby smoked up all the money. And then it started going downhill for me. Now, a lot of it was Bobby and Alicia. Alright, you married her. She was your manager. I get it. But he told her like she was a savior, and she probably did save his life. I don't really know, but how it made it seem was like Whitney was the horrible person and he was a better man with Alicia. Him and Whitney were two toxic people on crack who fell in love, got married, and had a baby. That's what it was. They were both toxic for each other. And I said this on Twitter. I said that Whitney was a ghetto girl that assimilated into being America's pop princess. Bobby was a ghetto boy, never assimilated. So he was told it as the bad boy. So Bobby looked, and we cannot deny this, Bobby was the bad seed in that relationship to us. Outside looking in, because this was Whitney Houston. She sang at the Super Bowl. She was Whitney Houston from the body. Like, Whitney was up here for black folk. Up, even white people, up here. Then she got with Bobby. Bobby was like right here. Bobby was that ghetto nigga that, you know, he could sing, but he could sell you some weed. Bobby was right here. And the fact that they got together was odd, because we thought that it was a step down for Whitney. Bobby was wealthy as well, but because Bobby was known as the bad boy, we thought that Whitney was stepping down to be with Bobby. They both were right here. And this is why, and I look back on the wedding scene, because everybody said that it was so weird that he saw her smoking crack, or not smoking crack, he saw her doing coke, and it's like he kind of relaxed and was ready to get married. I think at that point he realized, because he looked at her up here too, he thought that she was higher than him. So when he realized that they have the same vices, she's fucked up like he is, he realized that they were right here. But we didn't know. We just thought they were still like this. But he felt they were right there. They were both two fucked up people with two fucked up pasts, had substance abuse issues, got married, had money, had babies, and smoked all that shit up. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. He started to go on tour. Now, they could have done a little better with this, because they had Bobby looking like Bobby from 1986. This was what, 90 something, 2000. Bobby should have been fat with 18 next by now. But Bobby was still skinny, had a head full of hair. Bobby didn't look no different than he did in 1986. And I'm like, okay, we need to progress Bobby, because at this time Bobby is fat. Bobby got a gut, Bobby got nicks, Bobby got a twisted mouth, but you saw like they put cotton in Woody's mouth, so you see cotton right there, but he just looked the same with a fucking bump right here. And I was like, okay, you gotta kind of make it a little believable. But the whole Alicia thing, I understand that that's your wife. I don't know if she wrote this part, she told her side of how I don't really know, but the whole Alicia thing was boring to me. I think that it could have been, it was longer than it needed to be. I just thought that Alicia thing, it got boring. It really got boring, and I don't think that it should have been as long as it was tonight, because they could have speeded the shit up to me a little bit. It was, after a while I was like, okay, Alicia, she came in, she became your manager, she got you money, she got you bookings. Okay, I get it. I don't want to know no more. I don't care. I don't care about Alicia. I don't care. There was one scene when he met up with Whitney to see Bobby Christina, and oh, Raina came in, and I'm like, oh Lord, here go Raina. I'm gonna call her Raina. I don't even know her real name, but she came in and to see her father, and then she started taking one of her mom's cigarettes. And he asked her if she was in school, why is she smoking? And she started talking back to him, and it gave me Tariq-ish vibes. I was like, bitch, don't act like Tariq. And I don't mean to call you a bitch because you a child, but don't act like Tariq in this. Don't be Tariq of this Bobby story. Don't do that. But I think once Robin left, once Bobby and Whitney got divorced, Whitney did not look at Bobby Chris as her daughter, as her child. I think she looked at her as her friend, because she had nobody else. And I think she made Bobby Christina basically take care of her. And in that, Bobby Christina ended up doing as her mother did. Bobby Christina smoking. Bobby Chris didn't go to school. Bobby Chris out in the clubs as a child with her mother. And now I'm wondering, was that all Bobby Chris did with her mama? Because Bobby Chris was on drugs as well. So I'm like, was this something that they just did in that house? Bobby Chris said, well, the only way I can get close to this woman is to do as she does. It's sad. It is so sad how they did that child. That girl did not stand a chance with these two parents. And they're both to blame. Bobby's parents got sick. His father got cancer and his mom has COPD. They were preparing for his father to pass because his father was stage 3. His father died, no, his mother died first. His father died a year later. So there were 2 funerals. Like, funerals were coming back to back. Whitney died a month after his father, and when Whitney died, he was in Memphis touring with New Edition. When he found out, he was trying to locate Bobby Christina, and he couldn't find her. The family, Whitney's family took her, so he didn't know where she was. Whitney's family is a piece of shit, okay? I hope there is a special place in hell for Pat Houston, because Pat Houston is the fucking devil. And I don't care, I'm not saying allegedly, Pat Houston is the reason why a lot of this shit came out too. Anyways, I'm not getting on Pat. I'm just saying this family did not do right by Whitney. Her mom didn't do right by her. they didn't do right by Bobby Christina after Whitney died. But they did a reality show right after Whitney died. Bobby Christina looked so bad, so strung out, and they put this girl on TV to make money because Whitney wasn't there to make the money no more. But they couldn't find Bobby Christina. At the funeral, he went with his kids. They escorted him out. Now, what I remember, and now I'm like, is Bobby remembering things the way he wants to remember them? Because I remember Bobby came late and they wouldn't let him in. Tell me if I'm wrong. Was he already in the church? I don't remember. And then he went up to kiss the casket. If he was in the church, because I watched the funeral, if he was in the church, I don't remember him kissing no caskets. But tell me if I'm wrong. Was he outside or inside? He was not able to stay at the funeral. He was escorted. No. What the security told him that his entourage... Now that I think of it, I think he was in the church, if I'm not mistaken, because I remember he said something about his entourage when the funeral actually happened. They told him his entourage had to sit back there, but he said, this is not my entourage. These are my kids. These are Whitney's kids. We're family. And they told him if they don't move, they gotta leave. And that's what happened. You're right. Well, you didn't tell me anything. But yeah, that's what happened. So they got outside. They saw Bobby Chris. The family wouldn't let her speak to her father. 2 years later, Bobby Chris contacts him, wants to meet up, wants to talk to him. They sat down, they're talking. Now, this is around the time when she got ill, and I think they could have made it a little believable. Raina looked like she was going to the mall. Bobby Chris used to walk around with two left shoes on, two opposite shoes on. She used to walk. Bobby Christina was a mess around that time, so they could have made it a little more believable, but I get it. They were talking about helping her with some music and stuff like that and building a relationship, and I do remember that. And it happened when she was found in the bathtub, just like her mama. And I've always said, before this even whole Nick thing happened, or he was even looked at as a suspect, I found it weird that every time one of these people died, Nick was there. Nick was there. Whitney died in the tub, Nick was there. Bobby Chris, Nick was there. Bobby got the call that Chrissy was in a coma. He came here to Atlanta. I remember this because I used to watch it on the news every day. He came to Atlanta, and the family was trying to make decisions for Bobby Chris, but he was like, no, I am her next of kin. I am her father. I would be making the decisions when it comes to my child. I'm glad he put his foot down because the family treated him like shit. She stayed in a coma for 6 months. It was so hard. I remember watching it every day on the news. It was so hard, and I prayed for that little girl because I'm like, that girl had no chance in this world. She had nobody. Bobby Chris passed away, and it was just a lot of turmoil. It ended in like a barbecue, and then they show pictures of him and his wife getting married and the kids that they had, and he set up a memorial for Bobby Chris. I rate this a B+ because of part 1. Part 2, the succession of deaths, it was entirely sad. I forgot to tell you, okay, they did Being Bobby Brown, right? And they did the infamous scene when they were in that shop, and Whitney had on that bad wig and visor. It's a gift to this day. If you never watched Being Bobby Brown, you have seen the gif of Whitney and Bobby just doing this. They did that in the movie. Let me tell you, I hollered, okay? I literally hollered, okay? Because everybody was like, are they gonna do it? Are they gonna do it? Are they gonna do it? Please tell me they're gonna do it. And they did it. So I appreciated Bobby Brown for putting that in there, because you know you had to do that for the culture, because that by far is one of my favorite gifts ever. And they were just insane, just two crackheads just dancing to no music. It was TV gold. It was TV gold. It was good. I appreciate it. I appreciate getting his story. A lot of it seemed a little wrong, but 3 sides to every story. That was his story to tell. We can't get Whitney's side, but a lot of it seemed a little... What do you give the overall score for the entire... It wasn't a mini-series, for the entire thing? From A to D, what do you give it? And before you click off this video, do not forget to subscribe. Do not forget to like this video. Share it amongst your friends. It's really not a review. It's just a reaction of 2 hours of my life. And don't forget to check out my website, justbeheard.com. Alright guys, I'll talk to you later.